My name is Don Art, and I'm a consultant. Lately, I've been spending a lot of time in the RTB space, real time bidding. And the bidding is advertisers bidding on available space on websites all across the world. Basically, a website has an available impression, and any number of bidders, potential advertisers, bid on that space. Okay? It's really a complicated sounding concept. And in fact, it's described in a complicated way most of the time. But it isn't that complicated. This is a great example of overcomplication. All right, I found this infographic. I'm going to spend half a minute on it just to give you an illustration of how complicated people can make a not complicated concept. Okay, does that help? Doesn't help me, but anyway, that's sort of accurate. Okay, whatever a dynamic creative optimization partner is, don't worry about it. Ad verification, brand protection platforms, and at an advanced level, it's interesting. Okay, you're going to hear a lot of acronyms. This by far is the most important acronym: demand side platform. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, but there's a lot of other acronyms. SSP, okay, ad exchanges, ad networks, data partners, whatever. Now, how all these fit together sounds really complicated, okay? But don't worry about how it all fits together, because it actually isn't that complicated, and I'm going to try to make it simple. Basically, RTB involves two sides of the equation. You've got websites that have ad space, you have advertisers that want to show ads. Okay, nothing more complicated than that. RTB, real-time bidding, allows the advertisers to bid on the ad space when the ad space is available, instantly when the ad space is available, within 50 milliseconds of when a surfer loads a website. Okay, all these people over here, maybe thousands, but for sure probably dozens of people are bidding to show an ad in that spot. Okay? This could never happen before because computing and internet speeds were simply not there, did not allow such a real-time thing to happen. Okay? So this is an incredible democratization of ad spending. It's incredibly powerful. There was a day when it looked like Google was going to control the web advertising world. Okay, with RTB, it's impossible, because what you have over here on the supply side are all these networks of websites. Okay, and then you have in each network thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of websites in each of these networks. Okay, so every time somebody on their desktop or on their phone or using Facebook or on one of the Microsoft properties or anywhere else on the web, whenever they load a web page, okay, there is the potential to show an ad to that person. Okay, so that's available inventory, available potential that somebody can put an ad in. So through these ad networks, Google being the most well-known. Yahoo has an ad network. Facebook, of course. Microsoft has an ad network. And there's dozens and more. And there's some little tiny private ones, like NBC News has one. Okay? And so whenever somebody loads a page through these networks, a notice is sent out, and it goes over here to these people that potentially have an ad to show. Now, this is the only acronym I'm going to worry about. It's called DSP, Demand Side Platform. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 10, 100, thousands maybe, but for sure there's dozens right now of DSPs. And a DSP can be hooked up with one or more of these ad networks. Okay, now any DSP worth its salt is going to be hooked up with most of them, and certainly going to be hooked up with the biggies. Okay. And so we're going to just focus on an example, and we're going to use a website that's in the Google Content Network. Okay, most well known is probably Google, so we're going to stick with that. All right, now this is not Google AdWords. We're not talking about Google AdWords. Google AdWords is Google's in-house platform for sticking ads on Google properties and for sticking ads on the Google Content Network. All right, we're not talking about AdWords here. We are talking about the Google Content Network. Okay, now sometimes on the Google Content Network there are going to be AdWords ads, but there's also the possibility through RTB of showing other ads on the Google Content Network. Google Content Network has millions of websites. A surfer comes, loads a website into their browser that's part of the Google Content Network. Okay, now let's say at the top of that page is your standard everyday banner, and what ad is this website going to show in that spot? Well, it's going to ask the Google Content Network, what ad am I going to show? Well, actually the Google Content Network has no idea. The Google Exchange, actually part of the Google that's connected to the Google Content Network, actually has no idea, but it's going to find out. And how it's going to find out is it's going to send a notification out, and it's going to send it to all these DSPs. Okay, again, 1, 2, 3, 100. There's a lot of DSPs out there. DSPs hold all the available ad inventory. All right, now where do they get that ad inventory? Well, they have users. They have a user base. Okay, they have individuals, sometimes in a self-service platform or in a self-service way, or they have an agency relationship. So advertising agencies might have dozens, hundreds of clients. Okay, so anyway, there's end users, whether they're agencies or actual end users, that that work through these DSPs, and they give to the DSPs ads that they want to show. The ads that they want to show are basically banner graphics, and then where those banners, if they're clicked on, where the person goes. Okay, so that's the available inventory, and when this person that we just were talking about loads a website, part of the Google Content Network, this Google Exchange sends a message out to these DSPs and says, what ad, how much will you pay me to show an ad in that spot? Okay, so each of these DSPs sends a bid. Well, not necessarily every one of them sends a bid. Some of them will send a bid, some of them won't send a bid. Okay, now how much do they know to bid? Well, the major way they're going to know to bid is they're going to bid based on what their end users have said to bid, but they're also not going to bid every single time based on something on this targeting data. Okay, and these are other companies that are connected with the DSPs that provide targeting data. And when Google Content Network, when Google Exchange sends the information on the available space, they're going to also send along with that details about that space, details about that website. They're going to send not just the size, but is it going to be above the fold? They're going to send what's the name of the website. They're going to send the IP address of the browser. I mean, of the person browsing, the person loading a website. Okay. Well, the DSP is going to take that information. It's going to cross-reference it with the targeting data and cross-reference it with its available ad inventory, and it's going to send a bid back here. This DSP is going to do the same thing. It's going to send a bid. This DSP is either going to send a bid or not going to send a bid. But at some point here, and it has to happen within 50 milliseconds, okay, there's going to be a bunch of bids. Google is going to take the highest bid, but it's going to take the highest. It's going to actually just bid. It's actually just going to accept a penny over the next lowest bid. Okay, so you're going to get the best price even if you bid a lot more. Okay, so that's basically it. You've got DSPs bidding for available inventory. You've got web surfers loading web pages and letting the DSPs know what the available inventory is, and that's really it, except for this targeting data, which we're going to talk about in the next video. But the targeting data just helps the DSP figure out whether it wants to bid and how much it wants to bid. Okay, so that's the basic overview. I wanted to do it in 2 or 3 minutes and it took 9. Oh well. Thanks for listening.